Long time no see. Long time no see. This is Jason Rigdon, and you're listening to Talk to Seattle. I guess the second season of the show is going to be about the coronavirus. Sorry about the quality of the audio right now and in the rest of the episode. I didn't really plan on doing this. I just kind of decided to do it yesterday. Put a call out on Twitter and had some people respond and just did the interviews today. In future episodes, I'll try to make sure the audio quality and the editing is a little bit better, but I really want to get this out here as soon as possible. I hope everyone listening to this is doing okay, and you'll stick together. And so what I want to do in the second season here is just talk to people about their experiences with this coronavirus outbreak here in the Puget Sound area. And if you want to call me, if you want to be on the show and talk about your experience, just go to talktoseattle.com/talk. It's going to be talktoseattle.com/talk. Once every couple of days, or maybe once a week or so, I'll have a day or two maybe where you can schedule time and we'll just talk over the phone about what's going on and how do you feel. And we try to tell our stories and listen to each other and hopefully connect in some way. So we got three people today to talk. I'll let them introduce themselves. If you want any links to their, social media and stuff, that'll be in the show notes. And thank you for listening. And I want to hear your story. So please do go to that link, that talktoseattle.com/talk, and sign up to talk to me. It might make you feel a little bit better. So can I just start off by having you say what today's date is?
I believe today's date is March 19th, 2020.
Today is March 19th, 2020.
That is a good question. I've lost all track of time during this whole thing. Today is March 19th, 2020, and it's a Thursday, I think.
And what's your name and occupation?
My name is Amy Douglas, and I am a visual designer and hobby printmaker on the side. That is my side hustle. So I make things with my hands to make me happy, and I make things with pixels to pay the bills.
My name is Brandon Baker. I go by Narboo in the art world, and I am a visual artist.
And have you had any symptoms, or have you had the coronavirus?
I don't think I've had the coronavirus, and I certainly today am symptom free. So I'm still keeping a very low profile. I'm living at home and sticking around inside a lot. So.
Not that I know of. I feel fine now. The tests aren't readily available though. So it seems like you have to be in the NBA or Hollywood to get a test these days. But I feel fine so far. I just worry about like my parents and my in-laws and people in the older age brackets, but now it's coming out that about 40% of the people that are infected are in my age group. I'm 42. So I don't think we know enough about this yet to really, say clear guidelines on who should be worried and who shouldn't, not to be like totally fearful. It's just, I don't like to panic or freak out about stuff, but I also like to be well informed. So that's just kind of where I am at right now. We're about, 3 weeks in since it's kind of been starting to shut the city of Seattle down and really starting to notice things.
I have not had the coronavirus. I am in isolation, but not quarantined because I am immunosuppressed. I take immune system suppressors for Crohn's disease. So I have basically locked myself away from the world as best as I can.
So no going out at all?
Yeah, not in the last, I think I went out on Sunday to a park and stayed distant from people for a while, but I haven't even brought myself to like go on a walk, which I might actually do today if I can stay away from people in the neighborhood. But it's scary times out there. So I've been basically at home alone because my partner, she just moved across the world to Japan last week. So just me uh, doing what I need to do at home.
Wow, that's it's gonna be very isolating.
It absolutely is isolating. I'm the type of person that usually has stuff planned most days of the week. I'm teaching during the week. I have, I'm the president of Girl FC, which is one of the Sounders supporter groups. I'm also the president of the Seattle Sounders Alliance Council, which is the fan government. So I'm in meetings, 5 nights a week. I'm used to always being out. I might be an introvert in some ways, but I'm used to constantly doing stuff. So for me to be sitting at home, and I have grading to do, so at least I'm doing something, but it's maddening, and I think it takes a toll mentally, physically, all over the place.
Do you have any advice for folks in similar situations?
Yeah, I think I'm good at giving advice, not always good at following it. I think it's that you have to try to make yourself give yourself a routine, do what you would usually do in the mornings, and make it so it's not like you're just isolated and stuck. Because if you go down that rabbit hole of I'm going to be here forever, who knows what's going to happen, it starts, it'll get to you mentally, and you start struggling with mental health and stuff like that. So I've really tried to not do that. But with all the bad news out there in the world, you read on social media and stuff. I just read about a guy in LA who, a little bit younger than me, but similar health issues, who just passed away. He's so a big LAFC fan. So, in the soccer community, it hits kind of hard. And, just how easy it is to get this virus, and then you're just gone within a week, and you can't be with your friends or family. So, I mean, I digressed there, but, so I think it's doing things that you would usually do in some ways. If that's getting up and getting dressed, don't just throw on, like I did today, shorts and a t-shirt and go to the couch and start working. And trying to, I guess, keep up your mental and physical fitness. I have completely fallen off my gym plan. I was going 3 days a week, losing a ton of weight, getting muscle, and I basically have done none of that. So I actually bought weights one of the last days I was out, last Friday, I think, and just almost a week ago, I guess, and really going to try and do a regular routine where I'm getting exercise, where I'm not just sitting on the couch watching TV, and do things that make me happy and fulfilled rather than just sitting around and moping.
And have you had any loved ones with the coronavirus?
Again, not to my knowledge. I have a really small family, and so far, all three of us, my mother and my sister, are symptom free, and we're hoping that continues.
No, my father-in-law did actually go in and get tested because he was a higher risk, because he does have some respiratory issues already. So he went in and got tested, and that came back negative, which in the medical field is a good thing, as we learned on The Office.
And what are some of the other ways that this coronavirus pandemic has affected your life?
It's affected me in a lot of different ways than I kind of expected that it would. My first concern is for my mother, who is 72 years old, and I live in West Seattle. She lives in Mukilteo, and she and I are extremely close. We see each other normally, once a week. We talk every day, and she is in one of the other higher risk groups because she has rheumatoid arthritis. So, she's nervous, and I'm scared. I'm really scared for her. I desperately want to see her. I also had my birthday. Now, it seems like we've been going through this forever. I had my birthday, I think it was last week. And, of course, I had my birthday alone. And I really just wanted to be with my mom and my sister. And I knew that for our safety, all of us, that we should not do that. So it's those little simple comforts. I would love to be outside on this beautiful day and have a beer with my mom. And I can't do that because I don't want to put her at risk if I am, in fact, carrying it. So that bothers me a lot. It's impacted. My anxiety levels are extremely high. I'm having a hard time sleeping, and I feel the tension in my body when I wake up. So, my shoulders, I feel like I've worked out, and I haven't, but I'm sore, and I think it's just the weight of this thing is really impacting everybody so differently than we could imagine,
Well, for me, I'm a visual artist, but I also had a day job to supplement my income. And not related to this, my 5-year contract ended about a month ago. So I I was looking for a job, actively looking, and then this kind of hit. So the job market, a lot of people are losing their jobs, so people aren't really hiring right now, unless you are in the medical field, which I'm not. So I just been going full steam ahead with my artwork and painting and drawing for 10, 12 hours a day. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm not making as much as I was, but I'm not spending as much as I was either, because I'm basically just sitting at home, because we're not really supposed to go anywhere. Theaters and malls and everything are closed down. Not that I go to the mall, but you know what I mean? Restaurants are closed down now too, and bars. So been making lots of food at home, getting to be pretty good at that, making some pretty amazing omelets, if I do say so myself. But yeah, just been focusing on the art, which is really positive, and I think that's what's kind of kept my mind off of the worriness and like how bad it possibly could be, just because I'm down in my studio all day cranking out art, and that's the world I love to live in. So, and I've been selling stuff online and on my Etsy page and stuff, and certain people have been real supportive, and people that have the necessary or have the money or aren't losing their jobs and are still getting paid even if they aren't working, they're reaching out and getting commissions done and purchasing stuff off my Etsy here and there. So that's really helped. My wife works at Nordstrom, and she's been working from home this is, I think, her 3rd week. So she's upstairs working from home, and I'm downstairs in my studio working from home. So we haven't really felt it too much, other than the fact that, like I said, we don't go out to dinner anymore. And basically we just go to the store to get food. And then that's about it right now. As far as being outside, we go for walks, because luckily it's been nice. We had a horrible winter where it rained like for 52 days straight or something crazy, which, yeah, we live in Seattle, but that's even crazy. That's crazy even for us. So that's the one thing that's, I think, kept our spirits peaked, is that it has been nice out. It's still cold, but at least the sun's shining.
I mean, everything is canceled. I teach next quarter at both Seattle University and University of Washington Tacoma, and both those classes are now completely online, which will require a lot different take on how I teach. I'm very interactive. You do the reading, I'll lecture a tiny bit, and then we're going to have a discussion about everything. And I really don't know how possible that is online. I'm sure there's some of it, but it changes that dynamic. So just the way I'm preparing for the upcoming quarter, the way I'm interacting with students, it's one way with my partner moving to Japan for a year, I would be going out and hanging out with friends and finding ways to make myself kind of feel okay about that. I don't have that. So I have to kind of directly hit things head on and talk to people. So I'm talking to friends, I'm talking to family, and I think we're talking more seriously about stuff than maybe we had in the past, which could be a silver lining of it. But yeah, everything's canceled. The Sounders just canceled their season through May 8th, and I'm usually involved with every single game, and everything is changing. So it's a whole new world. I'm lucky in some ways that I did not have a job that requires me to be hourly there. I am my own boss as an attorney. As I teach, I can do it online. Some of the other stuff that I volunteer to do is now just not existing, but I'm in a rare situation that way. But I also am part of the gig economy as an attorney. I do low-cost legal services for artists and musicians and stuff like that. And so as they're being affected, it will affect me. But it's just going to be a slower effect. So right now, I'm not hurting financially yet, but I think we're all going to feel the brunt of that eventually.
And how are you handling like getting food, just like basic things like that?
I stocked up. I went out. It's hard, right? Because I feel bad because people were going out and buying out all the grocery stores and things like that. And I said, well, I have to, because I know that I'm going to isolate myself. I knew basically a couple days before I did that I have to do it now. And so I went to the store and stocked up on dry goods, and I'm vegan, so it's a lot easier for me. I don't have to worry about meat. So it's a lot of rice and beans and things like that. And I got some toilet paper, and I didn't get as many as some of these crazy people out there are doing and hoarding it. But, I'm good for the foreseeable future. And I think that means like another week or two. But after that, I mean, I think it'll rely on family members or friends who have the ability to move around. And maybe I should get on this sooner because, who knows what's coming in California. They're actually talking about martial law as a possibility if it gets worse. So it's these are crazy times. We don't know what 2 weeks from now is going to be like. We don't know how we're going to get food, where medicine is going to come from. Luckily, I think most of my medicine is mail order, so I should be able to get it, but you never know. Maybe they can't get it from the manufacturer. So uh, right now, it's just getting through the days, but in the week coming, who knows what's going to happen.
And have you been affected at all by these workplace shutdowns?
Strangely enough, I'm a gig worker, and I was actually unemployed from November, right around Thanksgiving, until March 9th. So on March 9th, I got a new contract where I did have to go into an office to pick up a laptop, have a large kickoff meeting, and from that point forward, it's been, you go home and you do everything from home. And I'm extremely grateful to have that at the moment, because having been, without anything but unemployment for the last 4 months, it's been a real touchy situation financially for me. But the other issue for me with that, I'm scared of losing once this contract ends. If there is no additional work, I am really scared, because now the unemployment system is completely overwhelmed. I'm grateful that I have an active claim. I'm not currently filing because I am working, but I am really, really afraid. As a single homeowner with a heavy mortgage, I need that income. I'm grateful that I do work in high tech, but I'm devastated by what it's doing to other people that really, really live paycheck to paycheck, and I don't know how to help.
And how is this pandemic and all this just craziness right now? How has it made you feel? I mean, a lot of people have talked about just this like deep anxiety.
Yeah, the anxiety is really getting to me. I woke up before my alarm this morning, and the first thing I did is I looked at CNN, to see what was happening. And the first headline that I saw was something to the effect of coronavirus cases jumped 40% overnight. And right then I thought, okay, I've been home since last Friday. I have not gone out to any restaurants, and not even to support in takeout. I've just been, I'm staying home, I'm walking my dog, and that is all I'm doing. But then I saw that headline this morning, and I thought, I know I don't have enough groceries and supplies to get through a really long period. I had enough for, 2 to 3 weeks, thinking, well, I'll just keep going, we'll keep limping along. So the first thing I did, I didn't even brush my teeth. I got up, I put on clothes, and I went to the grocery store, and everybody else was at the grocery store, and it really scared me. I saw a lot of the older population, and I didn't realize at that point that they actually had changed store hours for older people. And then I felt horrible once I got home and learned that on the West Seattle blog. I thought, oh, great, I'm one of those jerks, me. I'm in there in my 40s and buying what I can. But I didn't know that at first. And so there's this really weird cycle where you're feeling this tension in your own body and this will to live. And it's not that it's an immediate threat. I don't feel like I'm going to go to sleep and never wake up, but I am afraid to wake up with a symptom, and so I have this feeling of I do need to go to the grocery store, and I need these supplies just like everyone else does, but I also want to be a good citizen and allow the people that have, higher risk factors to be able to do their thing, free and clear without too many people. It's just a really awful thing to have going through your mind, where you want to do the right thing, but you also have to do the thing for you as well. It's really confusing. And the only thing I can kind of equate it to is, when you're on an airplane and they say, if we lose cabin pressure, you secure your mask first and then secure, an infant or child. And I feel like it's kind of that same thing. I'm trying to make sure that I stay well and that I'm able to care for myself, so that if my mother, becomes ill, that I can also, go to the grocery store for her, get her what she needs, put it on the porch. It's just, I don't feel like there's any one right way to think it through or feel. The only thing that I know right now that is the biggest importance is to really, really try and listen to the rules and stay as close to home as possible. Only necessity shopping. You don't need a tall mocha. I wonder, I know it's important to support small business, and I desperately want to support my small businesses in my community, because I worry about them. They must be 10 times as stressed out as I am. Yet I don't want to be that person that unknowingly goes into a shop or gets takeout at a window and contaminates someone else. I just don't want that risk. And so it's really hard to know what the right thing to do is, or how to feel. This is a very, very frightening time.
I usually try to stay pretty positive and be a pretty positive person. I watch a little bit of the news, but not a lot of it. But just enough to stay informed and know what's going on. I trust our governor. He seems to be doing a really good job. Unlike some of the people at the top of our country, which I don't have to name names, the history books will show how inept he's been. But at first he said it wasn't a big deal, and now he said he knew it was a pandemic before the scientists did. So, but yeah, I'm trying to keep a level headed. Every once in a while, it kind of creeps in my mind that, what is going to happen, because none of us really know. We've never been through anything like this. There was something, I guess, similar in 1918, which is over 102 years ago, that was, I guess, similar, but, no one's around that lived through that. And if they are, they're real old, and there's not a lot of them left. I don't know anyone 102 years old. So yeah, I guess that's the only thing, is just the not knowing, that just kind of the weirdness to it. But at the same time, there's a strange comfort in knowing that we're all kind of in this together. None of us really know what's going on. None of us really knows what the future holds. And a lot of people are losing their jobs. Not that that's a good thing, but like I said, we're kind of all in it together. And I have noticed that when I am out in public, people are a little bit nicer, holding doors for people, doing the little things that we used to do and take for granted. And somehow over the years, we kind of gotten to be not as nice to each other for one reason or another. So I feel like, in a weird, strange way, this is kind of bringing everyone together, which on that case is good, but who knows where the actual virus and how this will affect the economy and people's lives, and people losing people if they do, if it does end up taking the lives of people's parents and grandparents. That's kind of not something I want to think about, but it's, I guess, a possibility.
I have health anxiety in general. I've spent my whole life kind of as a sickly person, growing up with asthma and getting sick all the time. And I have a lot of injuries from car accidents and stuff like that. I guess it's not sick, but I already have a lot of anxiety around that. And I have Crohn's disease. So part of me, which for people who don't know, that's an autoimmune disease that attacks your intestines. So I have to take immune system suppressors. So I get sick a lot already just from the common cold, and it knocks me out. So I have extra anxiety knowing that I'm not one of the healthy, that if I were to come in contact with it just on accident, maybe a friend is a carrier and stops by to say hi, last weekend or whenever I was still seeing people regularly enough, uh, suddenly I can get sick, and you see how fast it can progress. I can die, and that's in isolation alone, without my friends, without my family members, without my partner, and it's extraordinarily scary. And couple that with the way that isolation kind of takes a toll on you. This the inability to only interact with people online or through the telephone, and it's a huge mental health drain. I feel like right on the edge of something bad setting me off. I read articles, and it makes me sad, and someone passes away who I don't know, but suddenly it brings my own anxiety, and I'm crying. And so it's scary, and this is something that I think about health a lot in general because of my health, but now it's on the forefront. It's real, and I want to go out and go to the grocery store and buy food or buy this or buy that, and if I do, I literally could be taking my life in my hands. So it's a lot to take in a way that maybe we don't deal with in America. We don't talk about these issues. We kind of just most people are drudging through their everyday life just to survive, and then the rest of everyone else is you know deciding all the stuff for us. So it's a lot of hard conversations, I think, that people are having around health and who they're interacting with, and just who they appreciate spending time with. I have seen a coming together of people in that fragility of our society, as we've seen things fall apart, as we've seen uh, businesses failing because they don't have enough customers, where people are going out of their way to spend extra money at those businesses, or going out of their way to check on friends. And I think that's a good thing. And I'm hoping that if we get out on the other side of this, that sense of community will survive in a way that maybe we haven't had for a long time in the United States because of electronic stuff, social media and TV and all that, which I'm a huge fan of those, so I'm not knocking them, but also this almost libertarian, like rugged American individualism, ruggedness that we've been brought up to have. Yet now we're seeing that no, we all need a community to get by.
As someone who's more vulnerable to this, do you think that the average person is actually taking it as seriously as they should?
I think they're starting to. I worry that it's too late. They were not before. I had a lot of conversations with people basically calling it a hoax and being like, it's not a hoax. Yes, it won't hurt you if you wash your hands and do the right thing, but you all could be carriers and it could hurt people like me. And so, I mean, it felt like I was having this selfish conversation, like, do what you do so that I'm okay. But, I think that's what people have to do. So people are starting to take it seriously, especially around here. I think there's a huge disconnect between those states where we've seen it, Seattle, my friends in California, what we're all seeing, and then say Florida, where just a few nights ago everyone was still out at Disney World and the people are still on the beaches, and elections are still happening. They haven't, so people are waiting in long lines together, and some states just aren't taking it seriously, and that worries me that we could knock it down here, but it's going to spread there and it could come back. So this is not a short-term threat. This could be months and months of maybe not isolation, but being cautious and trying to figure out how to deal with the new reality that is we live in a time where a virus can spread and kill a lot of people very quickly. I think we already were in that reality. We just didn't realize how close it could come. It's science has been warning us about this for years, but we kind of just don't have time to think about that. It's an existential threat only now.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the future considering so many places are closed and so many people have lost their jobs?
Well, that's where I think the government needs to step in, and that's, like I said, our state of Washington. I feel real confident with Jay Inslee as our governor. He seems to be trying to set up programs and actually like expanding unemployment to people that weren't eligible before. Trying to help these people, because like the service industry has just been devastated. I worked as a server and bartender for over 20 years, and I know that lifestyle is tough as it is, just trying to make ends meet. And then if all of a sudden you show up for work and they're like, sorry, we're closed, or who knows, and some of these smaller restaurants may never open again. We don't know. So, yeah, it's just a lot of uncertainty and just not quite sure. I mean, I worry about other people I don't even know, just because like it just is so uncertain, and as much as I hate to say it, money rules the world, because if you don't have any of it, you got to pay your bills. You got rent, mortgage, car payments, things that you have to make things go, and you need food, obviously. But they're doing things like with the certain like utilities and landlords. They're extending, not letting anyone foreclose on anyone right now. They're extending rent, and some people are even waiving rent for next week or next month. And I have a feeling mortgage companies will end up doing the same, where they'll have to push some of the payments back, maybe to the end of the loan, if nothing else. But there's got to be a way to do it, because in the grand scheme of things, money's just pretty much a made up thing anyways, in my view. Like, it's just a bunch of numbers on a computer screen at this point. And I get that it's real, whereas bills need to be paid, but like everyone's in it, like the small guys that are trying to rent, but the landlords that need the money, that have to pay who they pay, they're in it too. So it starts from the top, and everyone's just got to kind of realize this is kind of unprecedented, and they just got to help each other out, whether it's cancel payments or like I said, postpone them, something. I mean, it can be done. I have faith that can happen, but it's just a lot to think about and take in.
Yeah, I mean, this all happened at a time where I felt terribly uncertain, with my partner moving across the year for a year, moving across the world for a year. It was only a year, but still, I already had this like, what's happening? And living in a world where, as an adjunct professor, I don't know, I only know what's happening next quarter. So I don't know when I'm teaching in the fall, what I'm teaching in the fall, if I'm teaching in the fall. So I already kind of live with this inability to plan too far ahead in terms of that stuff. But this feels more real. This feels like I don't know if all my friends are going to be here in a month. I don't know if my parents, who are 70 and 79, are going to, be around anymore. What if they get sick? There's just so much more uncertainty about little things like, will my friends have a job? Will I have a job? Will we be able to get by? Will we have elections? What's going to happen? And it's not something I think Americans think about, because we're so very much going through uh, these are our rights and liberties, and this is how we live, and this is the American way of life. And I think this hopefully is a big wake up call to a lot of people that we need to live differently, and it may be as simple as working more in your community to help people, but also just the way we deal with health. As someone who is chronically unhealthy, meaning I'm sick, uh, I have to deal with the healthcare system a lot, and it's not easy to manage. And we're seeing the failures of it right now. So, whatever it is that we can do to make it easier to deal with as Americans, I'm hoping this is a wake up call to them, because it's there's already a lot of anxiety around it. It's only getting worse with this, and then the uncertainty about how are we going to deal with this moving forward is really hard, especially in light of what's happening in our hospitals here. I'm not a health expert, so I don't think I can talk about that. I've read secondhand accounts of not enough ventilators, not enough medicine pumps, health professionals working 22 hours a day just under the current levels of the crisis. And if it spikes, then it's going to look more like Italy, which is pretty sobering.
That depresses the heck out of me, honestly. I think we are definitely going to be struggling for a really long time. I think the large corporations, of course, will survive. I think the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Starbucks, large places will make it. And they're going to be impacted as well. It's not to say that they don't feel the same pain that we're feeling. But I'm looking at places just in my neighborhood. A really darling little salon opened up, this month in a cute little craftsman home on California Avenue Southwest. And their sign, and they worked so hard to make this place, inviting. And their sign, I can't remember what the name of the salon is, but it said, established 2020, and it has not ever even had the chance to open. And that breaks my heart for them, because they've probably put their heart and their soul and their life savings into that. And it's terrifying to know also myself as a gig worker that again, if I lose this job, I'm going to be competing for resources in a job with so many other people out there. It's going to be very frightening, and I really honestly don't quite know what to do. I have thought about, I have my home, which is very valuable, but if this, gets as bad as experts say they think it may, the crash, just like in 2008, I mean, the value of my home, there goes my savings. That's my only asset. It's really, really scary. I don't know. I can't keep dwelling on the things that are so uncertain and that fear, because it'll just consume you. But it's there. There is a pit in my stomach that is constantly nagging at me, and I feel like my only safe zone right now is, working 8 hours a day from home on a laptop where I have a job to do. And then as soon as it hits, 5:01, it's like, okay, now the panic sets in. And so it's really, it's not a good spot.
Have you found any other things to kind of deal with the things right now? Any hobbies or any kind of craft things maybe?
I have, and my side hustle as a hobby person is letterpress arts and printmaking. So luckily, I do have an old vintage press in my garage that I can print things. I can print cards and messages of hope. I can, I utilized 3 hours the other night. I hadn't even eaten dinner. I found a project to start organizing some of my old prints and making a new piece. And before I knew it, it was 8:30. And I thought, I just passed 3 hours, and that was really good. It kept my mind busy. It kept me focused on something other than the dread. So I think I will be okay with those types of things, but I'm finding the letterpress community in Seattle is extremely close-knit, and I'm reaching out to a lot of those people that I know and that I miss from a print shop. We work a lot together at the School of Visual Concepts in downtown Seattle, and I miss those people, and I worry about those people. You can be on the phone, texting, and you can FaceTime as much as you want, but sometimes, like right now, the hardest thing, I need a hug, and I want to hug other people, and I want to cry. It's scary, and I think of, I don't know, I'm rambling on and on. It's just, I think that is also an indication of how stressful this time is. I know that you asked me a question about how I would occupy my time, and here I've gone on, at length and rattled on about other things. And so I think that's evidence right there that we have a very, very large crisis on our hands.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I wish we could end like on a bright note, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being too negative. I don't know if there is a bright note. We just have to hunker down, like you're saying, and just try to take care of each other and hope that this will pass.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the brightest note that we have right now is, look out your window, and it's a beautiful day. If this were happening a month ago when we had, 60 days straight of rain, oh my God, this would be so much worse. So I try to find those little bits and pieces of the silver lining if it's there. I love that I can hear the birds. I love that I can see the cherry blossoms. And I love that I can feel the warmth of the sun coming through the window, And I do get out in my own yard, and I walk the dog. So I'm trying to enjoy all of those things. But I think that's what we have to cling on to right now, is that, it could be a lot worse, and it's going to get worse. But there are still beautiful things out there that we need to hold on to and hope,
I agree. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thanks for what you're doing. I think it's a great, great thing. So be well, and be well.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. We'll get through this, because everyone needs to stay positive, and see you on the other side.
Each one of my conversations today, I've always wanted to leave it on a bright note, but I kind of struggled to come up with anything. Yeah, so thank you for your time. I really appreciate you sharing your story and your perspective with us.
Yeah, I mean, here's a bright note for you. It's that if we come out on the other side of this, I think that there will be some major structural and just personal reform for a lot of people. I think the way that Americans interact with one another could change. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a long-term change, but in the short term, we will see communities working with each other to better their local society. So I think that ultimately is the good that can come out of this.
I hope you're right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this first episode of season 2 of Talk to Seattle. I hope that it helps you in some way or helps you understand what's going on right now or connect with other people. Help remind you you're not alone. So once again, if you want to talk to me, if you want to come on the show, just go to talktoseattle.com/talk. Thanks for listening and stay safe out there, okay?